I mean, listen, Shakur can play, for real. And everybody's got an opinion. In fact, we live in a world of opinionaires. That's what I call them, opinionaires. They're all the shows, a bunch of guys, and a couple of them that have played, but most of them who have an opinion about what something should be when they haven't done it. Those who can do, those who can't talk about, those who can. Those who have know what they're talking about. Those who haven't don't.
Denzel Washington isn't just stepping into this chaos. He's blasting through it like a one-man wrecking crew. He's not whispering, not hinting, not even easing in. He's tearing the door off the hinges and walking right up to Shedeur Sanders' loudest critics with the calm fury of a man who's seen it all. Every word hits like a heavyweight punch, smooth like an Oscar speech, but cutting deep like a truth nobody wanted to hear. When Denzel talks, the room goes silent, not out of respect, but out of fear that he's about to expose the nonsense they've been preaching for months. And once again, the Cleveland Browns have done it. They've managed to pull off the football version of burning down their own house while trying to light a candle. Only this time the fire's spreading fast, and it's got Shedeur Sanders' name all over it. Injured, they say.
People need to shut up.
I'm gonna close it out, right? I got my equalizer.
People
box.
need to shut up.
They told me I didn't have a lot of time.
August 15th, the movie opens, though. You need to go to the movie. Learn how to do something. Be actually good at something. Yeah. Try that.
But it's not the kind of injury where you see stretchers and concerned doctors. No, this is that mysterious, PR approved, we're just being careful type of injury. The kind that smells more like panic than pain. Then boom, in walks Denzel Washington, cool as ever, suit crisp, eyes locked in like he's about to deliver the performance of his life. But instead of an acceptance speech, he's dropping verbal grenades. Every line is a roast cooked to perfection. Sharp, funny, and painfully true. You can practically hear the haters flinch every time he speaks. Denzel's seen this playbook before. The one where a team sidelines real talent just because the narrative doesn't fit. And while Cleveland's PR crew is out here typing up excuses about precautionary absences, Denzel's calling it exactly what it is: sabotage in slow motion. He said, if common sense were money, these critics would still be broke. Because let's be real.
The Browns, when people on social media are like, I'm cutting the game off when Shedeur's off. Shedeur knew his value going in. He knew that people are only going to be watching the Browns because of me. So every time reports come out, every time we as fans support Shedeur and we say, bro, I watched the preseason game until Shedeur got on the field and then I cut that shit off. Every time you do that, the Browns is furious because they know that Shedeur is right. They know that Dion is right. Every time Shedeur is on that field.
The Browns didn't just bench a quarterback. They benched their future, wrapped him in bubble wrap, and tried to sell it to fans like a smart move. But fans aren't dumb. They see the truth, and the backup plan, it looks like something they found in the discount aisle of desperation. Every time some Shedeur Sanders hater crawls out of the internet shadows with that tired, he's not proven nonsense, Denzel Washington shows up like the NFL's Truth Patrol. He's that calm storm in the comment section.
I'm so happy with his performance. They saw what they had seen in college at Colorado. A man that understands how to play in pressure situations. Very few people would stand up and speak up and say, I was absolutely wrong. He outran the defensive line and got around the corner because people said he couldn't run. Can't run like his dad. Can't no damn body run like his dad. And let me tell you how I know. Stop with all of that now. He holds on to the ball too long. Remember that old stuff coming out? And I said, well, we can switch that and just say he stares down the barrel and make the play. Had pressure all around him. Never took his eyes from up the field. Damn!
Serving reality checks with style. The man's basically blocking punts with one hand while sipping espresso with the other. There's no hesitation, no filter, just that signature Denzel cool mixed with pure frustration at the circus. Cleveland keeps putting on because let's be honest, the Browns have turned bad quarterback decisions into an art form. This franchise has built a whole legacy out of...
And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that, but he doesn't, and then all of a sudden he's starting tomorrow night.
What were they thinking moments? And this latest move, it feels like another terrible sequel in a movie franchise that should have been canceled years ago. It's like they remade a flop from 1999, fired the star halfway through, and replaced him with some dude who just learned the script on the ride over. And when fans dare to ask questions, the team dusts off their favorite excuse: injuries. Classic. But this ain't a broken leg, and it sure isn't a career-ending hit. This is the NFL equivalent of calling a paper cut a medical emergency just so they can hide behind PR smoke and mirrors. They're trying to make fans believe they're being cautious, but everyone knows what's really happening.
For a quarterback last year in the National Football League. Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like at 2.42 to 3.14 seconds, if I remember correctly, based on what I read.
Sure.
The average time that Shedeur Sanders had to throw the other night was 3.48 seconds. And the reality is that in the National Football League, you know this better than me, Shefty. Obviously, you do too, D.O. You ain't going to get that much time to throw. So I'm saying, again, the one story is that he's earned the right for further looks with the first, second unit as opposed to the third unit. You are right about that. All I'm saying is, as enthusiastic as I am about him, let's be cautiously enthusiastic from the standpoint that you're going up against the Carolina Panthers and you had a year and a day to throw the football.
They're covering their tracks before the fan base goes nuclear. Cleveland fans have been through it all. Busted draft picks, impossible losses, quarterbacks who couldn't hit a wide-open receiver if their career depended on it. And now, just when they finally get a spark, a star who actually moves the needle, the Browns decide to bench him? It's madness. Denzel's not having it. He's channeling straight-up training day energy, reminding these critics that if you've got a problem with Shedeur, maybe the problem is you. He's not letting anyone twist the narrative. Every time a talking head tries to downplay Sanders' talent, Denzel steps in with a perfectly timed verbal knockout. He makes it clear, Shedeur doesn't need more seasoning. He needs a real shot.
Early in the Browns' joint practice against the Eagles, Ocho, how concerned are you about Shedeur rise to be QB1 if he doesn't play on Saturday?
I'm not concerned at all. I'm not concerned at all. For one, he's not going to be quarterback one. We know Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback week one against the Bengals when they do play. So I'm really not worried about that. I really don't have any concern because now come Saturday when they do play, if I'm not mistaken, Dylan Gabriel, and I'm not sure if Kenny Pickett is playing, now they get an opportunity to show, what they can do. We've seen the small sample size of Shedeur Sanders with the ones for a short period of time, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s.
But instead, the Browns are out here serving him to the bench like it's some 5-star meal, acting like they know what they're doing, when clearly they don't. The NFL's seen sabotage before, but not like this. This one's got layers like a scandal lasagna. It's not about injuries, it's about optics, baby. It's about making the fans think everything's fine while the front office quietly slips in the quarterback swap they've been scheming for months. And the haters, oh, they're loving it, acting like they just won a Super Bowl they'll never sniff in real life. Let's not forget, the Browns haven't seen a Lombardi trophy anywhere except behind glass in a museum. So if they're gonna fake an injury storyline, at least go all in. Give us a walking boot, a dramatic limp, a doctor's press conference, something. Instead, we're getting these mysterious day-to-day updates that sound like they came straight from a fortune cookie. You can practically hear Denzel in the background asking,
being called sabotage. Cleveland doesn't want him to succeed. Shedeur Sanders has been with the Browns through OTAs, rookie minicamp, and training camp. He knows the playbook, the head coach, the coordinator, and his teammates. And because he only gets one practice with the ones, it's sabotage. You've got to be kidding me. Stop pandering. Stop protecting media. The great ones would consider this an amazing opportunity. Wasn't it Shedeur who called himself legendary?
day to day with what? A bruised ego? That line alone could end careers. What makes this whole thing hilarious is how predictable it's become. Cleveland finally lands a player with real star power, someone who could change the culture. And what do? Pull him off the field at the first sign of adversity. It's like this team has a clinical fear of success. Every time victory peeks around the corner, the Browns panic and slam the door shut like, not today, and the haters.
Too much talking. Too much talking. Everybody got an opinion. Everybody's sitting around getting fat, thinking they know how to do it. Just because you can sit behind a desk and chit-chat doesn't mean you can do a damn thing.
They're out here cheering like this is some genius long-term strategy instead of the slow-motion disaster it clearly is. Meanwhile, Denzel's watching the mess unfold with that signature smirk, half entertained, half disgusted. But don't get it twisted, he's not letting anyone off easy. His words hit like a slap wrapped in wisdom, short, sharp, and impossible to recover from. Each roast makes these decision makers question their entire existence, because when it comes to mismanaging talent, the Browns are undefeated. They could take a generational player and turn him into a trivia question faster than you can say quarterback controversy.
In terms of how people perceive his star, he will out Tebow, because whatever his deficiencies are as a talent, there is no denying he's a star. He will be the greatest NFL draft story ever told. His entire story, from Jackson State to Colorado to slipping, whatever you want to call it, falling, slipping, getting pushed, blackballed, sent a message to the 5th round. He had the highest rated preseason game. He had 2 million viewers on the NFL Network. He had the #1 program on broadcast and cable television. Bank of America's stadium's capacity is 75,525. There were 71,205 in attendance.
This is the same franchise that turns rising stars into cautionary tales, like it's their team motto. And now they're doing it again, right in front of everyone's eyes. The NFL lives for a comeback story, and Shedeur Sanders has the perfect script for one. He's built for moments like this, not the type to crumble when drama starts swirling. Manufactured chaos? Please. Shedeur's been dealing with noise since day one, and he knows exactly how to shut it all down. Not with words, but with wins. That's why Denzel Washington keeps hammering it home, loud and clear. This isn't the end of the road. Oh no, this is the part where the movie gets good. The Browns think they're masterminds, playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. But let's be real, their board's missing half the pieces. They think they're controlling the narrative, but what they've really done is write the setup for their own humiliation. And those haters, they're out here celebrating like they've achieved some moral victory, not realizing that all they've done is set themselves up for the most uncomfortable Monday morning in NFL memory, when Shedeur steps back on that field and starts dropping dimes like he never left. Because Shedeur's story doesn't stop here. This is the setup before the storm, the calm before the redemption arc that's about to light the league on fire. The Browns and their critics are about to get hit with the kind of payback that leaves them speechless, scrambling for excuses while pretending they believed in him all along. And if there's one thing the NFL loves more than a scandal, it's the sweet irony of watching doubters trip over themselves trying to hop on the bandwagon once the player they trashed.
Cause your boy got time today. You see, this is my favorite thing about haters. When lies get disproven, goalposts get the moving. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Shedeur Sanders. You see, a lot of people on draft
turns into a star. And when that day comes, don't think for a second Denzel's letting anyone off the hook. He's been watching this whole saga unfold like a director studying a bad improv act. The Browns fumbling their own future, the haters choking on their own takes, all while Shedeur quietly loads up his next highlight reel. So when he returns, calm and focused, making the throws they said he couldn't make, Denzel's going to be right there, front row, handing out reminders like receipts at a clearance sale. Because this was never about an injury. It was about underestimating the wrong man. And yet the Browns still want us to believe this is just business as usual. Please, the NFL has seen players take harder hits than their paychecks and still suit up the next week. All Denzel has to do is hit that legendary pause before a punchline, and suddenly every couch analyst in Cleveland feels like their uncle just gave them the most painful truth check of their lives. You've got Browns fans out here acting like Shedeur Sanders owes them something, like the man hasn't been single-handedly keeping their team relevant while half the roster treats the playbook like it's optional homework. They love to preach about loyalty, screaming it from the bleachers, until it's time to show that same loyalty to the only guy actually giving them a shot at winning. It's wild. And there's Denzel Washington standing off to the side, shaking his head slow, that disappointed uncle look that says everything without saying a word. He's watching the same cycle play out again and again. The Browns fan base has turned chasing quarterbacks into a hobby. This is the same team that's drafted quarterbacks like...
No, there are more Shedeur haters than there are Dylan Gabriel
So listen, I've seen a
haters.
lot of Shedeur haters, obviously.
They found you?
Yeah, they didn't.
They're collecting Pokemon cards, hoping one might suddenly evolve into Tom Brady. But now that they finally have the one, real talent, real leadership, they're moving like a grandma trying to cross black ice in January, scared to take a step forward. Meanwhile, the haters are multiplying like termites, chewing through any crumb of negativity they can find. He misses one practice, proof he's not committed. He wears sunglasses indoors. Proof he's distracted. He smiles during rehab. Proof he's not taking it seriously. It's pathetic. And that's when Denzel steps in, smooth and surgical, dismantling their nonsense like it's a monologue he's been rehearsing for years. He's basically saying, so let me get this straight. You want him to be miserable while he's healing? The man can't win with them unless he literally wins on the field. And that's what drives them crazy. Shedeur keeps winning anyway. He's out there proving himself again and again, and they can't handle it. They can't stand watching success they didn't co-sign. So they rewrite the story, twisting it to fit their fragile egos. But every time they do, Denzel's right there. Arms crossed, eyebrow raised, that look of calm destruction, reminding them they just embarrassed themselves in public. And don't even start on the timing of this injury. It's too perfect, almost suspiciously so. The Browns get to dodge the PR nightmare of admitting they benched their best player while giving themselves a built-in excuse when things inevitably go downhill. It's damage control disguised as strategy, and everyone, including Denzel, sees right through it. If the Browns lose, the excuse is ready. Well, we didn't have Shedeur, and if they somehow pull off a win, suddenly they're geniuses, patting themselves on the back like they just cracked the Da Vinci Code of football. It's not strategy, it's politics and shoulder pads. And of course, Denzel Washington calls it exactly that.
And people were like, why do you say he's a circus? He's a good player. I didn't say he's not a good player. I didn't say he's a bad player. I said your starting quarterback has to be the guy. The cameras, the lights, the action, the locker room, everybody wants that guy in the locker room with the mouthpiece in, lining up on Sundays. And if you don't, and you got a guy like Shedeur Sanders, who's in the backup position, fourth on the depth chart, and they're like, we're here to see Shedeur Sanders. Right? The media's in the locker room bypassing all the quarterbacks. They walk right past Kenny Pickett, didn't even know he was even in there, right? Walk right past Dylan Gabriel, probably didn't even see him, little. Sees Joe Flacco, goes, holy shit, Joe Flacco looks like he should be in the NBA.
Only with way more class, confidence, and sting than the Browns PR team could ever dream of handling. The NFL loves to preach about competition, merit, and performance, that whole next man up fantasy they sell every season. But anyone who's been paying attention knows better. Behind the curtain, it's about egos, politics, and sometimes straight-up money moves. And instead of building around Shedeur, a young quarterback who actually gives Cleveland a pulse, they're sidelining him like he's some disposable experiment. It's insanity disguised as management. That's when the haters really expose themselves. They're not offering real critique. They're fishing for validation.
For 300 yards in this game and tears it up, Kevin Stefanski is still going to have to stand in front of the podium and then justify why based on what they've seen at practice. And every report we've had out of practice is that he's not ready. Stefanski is then going to have to calm down the fan base, and they're not going to believe him because they don't see the practices and they just saw the game. That's why this just feels awkward. Like it's nobody's fault. Yeah, they don't have a better situation. I genuinely believe if you are a fan of Shedeur Sanders and you are a fan of the Cleveland Browns,
they want Shedeur to fail just so they can jump online and yell, see, we told you so. It's the kind of energy that screams insecurity, not analysis. And Denzel, oh, he doesn't let that slide. He'll lean in, voice calm, but sharp enough to cut glass and drop the truth. Rooting against someone just to protect your own ego? That's the weakest kind of fandom there is, boom. Every word lands like a mic drop. Each week that Shedeur sits out, Denzel's point gets stronger. You can already see it coming. The backups will stumble, the offense will sputter, and suddenly all those loudmouths calling for his benching will start whispering, "When's he coming back?" That's the irony of it all. His absence will end up proving just how essential he really is. The same fans who doubted him will have no choice but to admit it. Maybe he's not so bad. But Denzel? Oh, he's keeping score. He's got mental receipts stacked higher than the Browns' bad draft history. This isn't just about one player. It's about a franchise that's been chasing stability for decades, finally finding a glimpse of it and still managing to fumble it like a bad snap. It's about a fan base so conditioned to disappointment that they can't even recognize hope when it's right in front of them.
Sometimes your purpose is not found in what you do, but it's found in what God has for you to do in what you do, right? And Shedeur Sanders, who's widely, I mean, if you look at the situation, if you know the situation.
None other than the main man, Shedeur Sanders, as he got off to a hot start or overhyped. Shedeur Sanders jumped out and had an amazing performance against the Carolina Panthers, completing 14 passes out of 23 attempts for 132 yards, 2 touchdowns.
And it's about a league that loves the spectacle of chaos more than the fairness of truth. The Browns didn't just bench a quarterback, they benched their chance at redemption. And Denzel's there, front row, watching the slow-motion self-sabotage unfold with that knowing smirk that says, "I told you so." When Shedeur Sanders makes his return, and trust me, he will, it's not going to be some quiet walk back onto the field. No, it's going to be a full-blown reminder, a statement, proof that real talent can't be hidden behind fake narratives or precautionary excuses forever. It's going to be loud, undeniable, and personal. Because when Shedeur comes back slinging touchdowns, it won't just be a comeback, it'll be a reckoning. Every throw, every drive, every win will scream the truth louder than any PR script ever could. Winning shuts down more arguments than 100 press conferences combined. And the haters, oh, they'll be loud right up until the moment they're proven wrong. Then silence. But don't think Denzel's gonna let them sneak away unnoticed. Nope, he'll be standing there with that calm, sharp Denzel delivery, reminding everyone exactly how quick they were to doubt. He'll be that voice echoing in their heads every single time Shedeur lights up a defense. Didn't you say he wasn't ready? Every time the Browns fight their way back from behind, he'll be the reminder they can't shake off. The living proof that they almost threw away greatness just to protect fragile egos. Because at the end of the day, this story isn't just about football, it's about pride, it's about respect, it's about knowing when you got someone who can change your entire future and not being foolish enough to push him aside. The Browns might not get that lesson yet, but Shedeur's about to make sure they learn it the hard way. And through it all, Denzel Washington will be right there, arms crossed, that knowing grin on his face, watching it unfold like the final scene of a movie he already knows the ending to. So if you're ready to see how this plays out, make sure to like, subscribe, and share because you won't want to miss what happens next. See you on the next one.